told me not to smoke drugs, but I wouldn't listen. Never
All right,
thought I'd
we're gonna
get
try it
caught
again.
and wind up in prison. Chalk it up
Can
to
you hear me? I
but
can hear
young
you,
age
Corey.
I ain't dissing. I guess
I got
just
you. I
had
got
to
you
now.
get it out
All
of
right.
my
We're gonna just
system.
take off
Out
and
of
try
my
to do this.
system.
Go for
Out
it.
of my system.
And welcome to Uncarcerated. We're 5 episodes in. Each and every week, we are lucky enough here to be able to follow a narrative and talk to a guest that's returning home or has been home for quite a bit of time. Be various institutions, jail, mental health, institutions all around the country. And we want to take a look at sort of the things that lead us to making mistakes, why some people are dealt with in a punitive fashion and other people, maybe you can afford a lawyer, or maybe you're in a different social status, or maybe you have a different background. Are people of color affected more adversely? We want to take a look at the things that the criminal justice system has failed in leading to the highest incarceration rate in the world, in what's supposedly the freest country in the world. And then the big part of this story, the thing that we really like to focus on, is the journey home, the pitfalls, the frustrations, where people could find more support. And we're fortunate enough tonight to be joined by someone who embodies this story, Corey, my good buddy Corey. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
Good. I'm glad you could join us.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. So I was, it's crazy. You get into these situations and you think, well, this is going to be the worst experience I ever have. And I was lucky enough to be involved in some programs where I was exposed to people like Corey. And Corey, just for our listeners who obviously don't know you, just sort of introduce yourself and let us know where you're from, where you grew up.
Definitely. Corey Hayes, 31 years old, grew up in Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville native, pretty much. Grew up on the west side.
Are you excited about the fact that Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence are at Jacksonville now? Is there a new hope, a new outlook as a sports fan right now?
Oh man, definitely, man. Absolutely. I mean, though it's crazy because you can actually see like this is the beginning of a new era when it comes to Jacksonville. So not only is it going to bring a big hype to the team, but also bring a lot of money and like a lot of different activities and stuff that just like coming to Jacksonville itself. Like I'm really excited about that. It's going to be crazy.
That's an important thing that I want to take a sort of a stop on this discussion here and talk about. I grew up in a college town and with the University of Florida, and I can see where the success of athletics here affects the working class. It affects townies, or ACRs here in Alachua County, as we call them. Up there, you guys are Duval, and no, I'm not going to yell Duval, but talk about the idea that growing up in an urban area and growing up working class, or the different areas of Jacksonville that are affected by the success or the lack of success by the sports teams. I mean, that can bring jobs, it can bring camaraderie, it can bring all sorts of side hustles. So,
yeah, I mean, definitely. It's like it can go either or. So of course, like it's gonna bring a lot of money to Jacksonville, a lot of activity, and of course, what comes with good also comes with evil. I mean, but at the same time, like Jacksonville in a whole, man, it's a lot of rough areas, low income housing, and it's just I don't know. I mean, it needs a little work. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully these teams that bring money in can figure out a way to I'm hoping that we are starting to get into a more woke area where teams don't just come in and gentrify areas. I remember a good example of this is the 96 Olympics, where instead of fixing the problems in Atlanta, they're just rounding up homeless people and arresting them. And I'm hoping here 30 years later, we are now into a place where if Jacksonville starts to have success, maybe it trickles down and some money is redirected for the community. And can you talk about growing up in Jacksonville and what your childhood and your early adult life was, and did it have any effect on the issues that you'd have?
Yeah, so definitely. So so growing up, man, it was just the standpoint of like, beatings and nothing like that. It was just, just real religious beliefs. And that was part of my upbringing. So with that, I mean, that's how my mom was. So she really tried to mask the world to us in a sense, almost. So with that being said, it leaves you to actually go figure it out on your own. I mean, let's be real. I mean, my okay, so I grew up. I always knew my pops. I always knew who my pops was. But he was in the military, so he was stationed out in California. So when I was 3 years old, my pops moved to California. That's all I knew. I never remember him like living with me. You follow what I'm saying? So I didn't have like that father figure to like teach me, how to be a man. So mostly it was just me. It was just me, my mom, my brother, and my older sister. I'm the youngest. So yeah, it was just us in the beginning. But ultimately, it's like I had nobody to like guide me. My brother was there, but he was on his own little thing. He had his own friends. He had his own circle. I had my own circle. So pretty much it was just a whole bunch of kids in the same type of predicament, and we just learning off each other. And how we learn, we learn by touching the stove and realizing it's hot. You can't tell us that it's hot. We're actually gonna go and dibble and dabble in it just to see what it really is. Ultimately leading to like, being in the streets and shit.
Yeah, and I
I
think
mean,
that's like a really important piece of this that our listeners and myself, I've experienced some things to that a certain extent, but let's be honest, it's completely different in America when you're a young white kid, maybe growing up in suburban America or a moderately wealthy household. If you touch the stove and burn your hand, you're not going to juvie. If you touch the stove and burn your hand, you're probably not going to jail. But make those same mistakes as a young black man, and I would imagine that the consequences are much different.
hell yeah, because I touched the stove one time. I mean, shit. I touched the stove one time and they threw the book at me, man. Like no probation, no programs, no nothing. So first time I sat in front of the judge, threw the whole book at me. Boom, I get 8 years in prison, door to door. I'm like, all right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, of course I went like that, but you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying. It's devastating. You get what I'm saying? It's a life changer.
So
It's 100% life changer.
you're 19, 20 years old, and this is your first time in trouble, and you're looking at 8 years, 10 years of your life being snatched away from you. That no one comes to you. There's not some pro bono lawyer or some program. There's no sentencing alternative. There's no rehab. There's none of that. What were you thinking? I would imagine that there's a little kid inside of you that's going, hey, who's around to protect me? Where's my second chance? And yet this body of this man has to sort of portray a tough image. You don't want your mom to fall apart, and you have to go do this time, and you know how it is behind those bars. You can't complain because the guy next to you's got 30 years, so he doesn't want to hear about your 10 years. So talk about that.
That's a fact.
Talk about your experience where you're such a young man and you're about to see 10 years of your life just gone. Talk about what that felt like.
Honestly, it really didn't hit me like the first day. Okay. To be honest, I mean, I was kind of prepped. I kind of knew I was going to prison. I'm just gonna be honest. I was fortunate enough to be locked up with my cousin who's been to prison already, who could run me the game on what's going on and certain things. Okay, so okay, just to get more into depth. So he would give me insight on simple things like, okay, boom, if you with your co-defendant, y'all going to trial together, every court date, and then boom, you don't see him no more, and y'all got separate court dates. One of y'all telling on the other. So pretty much, lacing me up on jail life. So ultimately, he told me, he was like, yo, nephew, he was like, yo, cuz, you going to prison, right?
And nobody wants to hear that, because for the listeners out there who don't understand what county's like, everyone tries to think that there's two schools of thought. Some people try to tell themselves they're going away for a long time. So when they get sentenced, they don't feel so bad. And then there's another group of people who are like, oh, I'm definitely going home. So when someone who's been through it comes to you and says, yeah, dude, you're going to prison. I mean, it's like you don't even want to believe it.
Yeah, like I didn't want to believe it at first, but then he started to make sense. He was like, yo, just look at it like this. You're going to prison right now, you're fighting for a date. So really, you just got to minimize how much time you're going to be in prison. And I was like, damn. So it's also like my fate has already been made. So I'm really like guilty before proven. But I mean, I'm really guilty. You know the saying.
Right.
I'm really guilty before I'm guilty before proven innocent. Whatever. But yeah, man, it's crazy. But
one of the things that I found,
but it really didn't hit me like once I got sentenced.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say one of the things that I found tough to do when you're in the legal system is that you want to stand in front of the judge and take ownership for whatever you fucked up on, but you also want to advocate for yourself.
Nah.
You want to say, hey, listen, this is some bullshit that I went through, but also here's the person that I am. How do you even do that? How do you stand in front of the judge and have a conversation, or do you?
Hell no. I mean, there's nothing to say. My judge didn't even look at me. He was new to the board, and he was trying to make a name for himself. So pretty much everybody who went before him, he was throwing the book at. I was just like, all right, whatever. I knew he didn't want to hear what I had to fucking say.
Right.
Motherfucker never looked at me. He never looked me in my eyes. When I got sentenced, he didn't look at me. I was like, all right, well, shit.
I mean, talk about inhumane treatment. It's like I'm not even a human being. You can't even look at the person you're about to,
Hell no, you're not a human being. You're a file. Right. You're a number.
Right.
Yeah, you're a number. You're a bump.
We talked about that in one of the first episodes about the importance of your DOC number. That as soon as you're in the system, the reason that number is so important is because it's a way to dehumanize you.
That's a fact, because they take your name away. You become cattle.
So when you get to RDC, what was your experience like once you probably went to Lake Butler, right? So when you get there, what was that experience like?
From the beginning, bro, they just strip you of your identity. You get off the bus, you go in the garage, they form you like a little, like, how the garage set up, so you're like in a semicircle, whatever the case may be. Garage door shut. Motherfuckers say strip. Fuck, you know what I'm saying? So I just see motherfuckers coming out of their clothes. I'm like 19, 20. I'm like, the fuck?
It's insane to have another adult tell you to get naked. It's crazy.
Bro, not only another adult telling another adult to get naked, man, you getting naked in front of 50 other motherfuckers. Yeah. Telling you, and they tell you, hey man, don't cover up your dick. Pointing the inmate out, giving them a trash bag, telling them to walk around and pick up our clothes. Like they had to tell us, like, yo, pick up your drawers. Everybody pick up drawers. He'll tell the inmate, go around and collect the drawers. He'll collect the drawers. All this shit, butt ass naked, article by article, clothing by clothing. Hey, go around and get the shirts, butt ass naked. Everybody put their shirts in the bag. Everybody pick up your pants. Put your pants out front. Inmate, walk around. Everybody put your pants in the bag. Butt ass fucking naked, yo. Line us up. Talking about nut the butt. One by one through a fucking metal detector, bro. Crazy.
Yeah, and
dehumanize you from the jump, trying to put fear in you and like beating you and shit. I mean, that shit wild.
And I felt like that whole deal is less about security, Corey, than it is dehumanizing. Because you just came from being in county jail for a couple of years. Nobody's sneaking anything in there. That is way less about security and way more about dehumanizing. Mm-hmm. They know that at that point. It's just about trying to embarrass you and humiliate you and dehumanize you from the jump, because then you become more passive. You become more dependent on this behemoth of a system. It's a nightmare from the minute that garage door closes. The other thing that I noticed once you get there is that they're trying to constantly confuse you. When you get in there, they're like, everyone form a line to the middle, straight, left, double line to the middle, but go to the right. I'm like, dude, these are opposing ideas. What the fuck is happening here?
Yo, man, that shit is wild.
So when you get through there,
and then oh yeah, and then after that, of course it comes with I mean, you butt ass naked for what, like 2 hours, while they trying to run your information, looking at your tattoos and repeat after me, and oh, give me 5 sir, yes sirs, 5 ma'am, yes ma'ams, and everybody got to say it in unison, and bro, it's crazy. I mean, what's the purpose? What are you doing other than trying to mentally like fuck my mind up?
Yeah, it's
To belittle me,
control.
to just to show, yeah, just to show me that I'm subservient to you.
Yeah, it's all control. And then you're
Nah.
right. You're sitting in that little medical area naked for hours. I remember seeing a friend of mine from high school in there that I hadn't seen in years, and he's coming from a different jail. He's coming on a different bid. He's already been to prison once, and he turns around and he looks at me and he's like, Lee Scott, what the fuck you doing in here? And I was like, oh man, I got 5 years, but it'll go by fast, right? And he turns around and looks at me and he goes, man, 5 years is 5 years. And I was like, oh shit.
Hey, yo, that's fucking crazy. Hey, no, same type of story. So, hey, just to backtrack a little bit, I had my first day in the county jail. Man, I was in cell 77. I never forget this shit. It was a motherfucker in the name Corey Husband. That was my bunky's name. He first time in jail, so I don't know what to expect. I'm sitting there, and then he was like, "Yo, what you in here for?" And he was like, "You got an F1, F2, F3." I don't know what the fuck he talking about. And then I told him, I was like, "Yeah, man, they talking about I robbed somebody." He was like, "With a gun?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "But I ain't worried about that shit because I'm a bond out." You follow what I'm saying? Even though the judge just told me I had no bond, I don't know what the fuck going on. I'm just oblivious to everything because
Right.
nobody laced me up on this shit ever in my life. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just like, all right, whatever. Yeah, I'm a bond out. That motherfucker say, hold on, man. He said, let me see your check-in paper, whatever the fuck. So I gave him a little printout and had like my little charge on there, whatever. And he was like, man, this say armed robbery with a firearm, bro. You got an F1. I was like, what that mean? He was like, man, you might well lay down. You gonna be here a while. I was like, God damn. I was like, damn.
Oh, that is the worst. It's so
Yo.
listen, when you get heartbroken by those old schools, you know, when they tell you what it is, because listen, you early on you're just throwing out words. You're just saying stuff and hoping it sticks and trying to figure out information because you don't want to ask anyone what's happening, right? So you just say, "Oh yeah, you know, my lawyer came and he said hey, I'll be home in a month." And they look at you and they're like, "Dude, you ain't going home for a fucking while."
They're like, man, hey, maybe if you'll sit the fuck down. Hey, man, what you want on canteen? You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, man, hey, mail is due on this day, laundry is on this day. Like, man, fuck that.
Yeah, when I got to late, there's always the other thing that I notice in county too is there's always you can tell who's new because they're what I like to call ask about their case guy. They go to every single cell and they talk about their case because all they're trying to do is they're trying to hear the answer they want to hear. And you've already told them what's going on, but they just won't stop talking about their case.
They trying to hold on to that little bit of hope.
So, yeah,
it's over with.
Corey, I would say the most addictive drug on the planet, and especially in prison, is hope. How important is hope in there? Because the thing that I saw that was, you know, all the hustles, you've got people who sell cigarettes, people who run the sports ticket. You've got all these hustles. The biggest hustle is the legal hustle. The guy who comes to you and swears he's going to get you home, knowing full well he's never sent anybody home. The idea of selling hope to people while you're in prison.
Man, that's a double-edged sword right there. I mean, honestly, that's a double-edged sword. So, okay, so having hope is good, but you know, because it's gonna get you through. Because it's been times where day after day, even though you know you're getting closer to your date, it still seems like you're getting farther away at the same time. It's crazy. Because like every year I spent in there, I knew I was getting out one day, but I was just living in the moment so much that it felt like I was never getting out because I was so caught up in the routine. But I kept the hope. Like I had hope. I mean, it's not hope because I knew I was getting out, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying.
It's extremely important, man.
Prison actually forces you to stay in the moment. The people who struggle the most in prison, the guys who just are on the struggle bus every day, getting in fights, having to call home a million times, getting into an argument with their girl, having to check the mail. Those guys are the ones who don't stay present. They're either stuck in the past or they're stuck way in the future. And so when you want to talk about mindfulness and like getting enlightened, which I know that you work out a lot now, we'll talk about that in a second, but I know you know the idea of like controlling your mind. And that's one of the things that happens in prison is you learn to just accept exactly what's going on because it's the only way to survive.
I mean, if you don't got a strong mind, you dead from the get go.
Right.
I mean, that's all it is. It's a psychological project in there, bro. I mean, if you don't have a strong mind, you're fucked. Because people trying to finesse you. You know what I'm saying? You got to be on point at like all times. I mean, it's undescribable. It's an undescribable change you have to go through in order to go from in order to go from civilization to just being in captivity. That's a major change, like to the mind. If you can't handle that type of paradigm shift, that shit'll break you in the end. I mean, you got to come to grips with, you're gonna be like, when I started doing the math on how long I was gonna be gone, like, damn, my nephew gonna be graduating from middle school. This motherfucker was like 7. You get what I'm saying? Like when you put into like into perspective, you like, fuck. I mean, yeah.
What did you do when you got there and you settled in and you got into a routine? What were the things that, like, for me, I'll give you an example. For me, I bit off things in small chunks. I would just tell myself, I look forward to 4 o'clock chow, or I found a show that I like at 7, or Wednesday I got mail. But you can't think about 5 years or 10 years. You have to think about things in these little bite-sized chunks, and that was one of the strategies I did to work around that thing that you're talking about of always living on edge. I mean, that's what causes PTSD. When you talk about soldiers coming home from the military, what gives them PTSD is not bombs going off. It's waiting for that bomb to go off. That's why they have PTSD. And so the little things that I did, right, exactly. So what did you do mentally to sort of work around that PTSD?
You got to have a routine. So that's what I did. I mean, I just had a routine. So my dad told me something. He told me something. He was like, yo, this is what you got to do. You got to have a routine. So you got to do something physically. You got to do something mentally. Every day you got to do something spiritually. And that was it. It was the 3. It was either 3 or 4, but I'm pretty sure it was like physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, socially. Like, so pretty much he was just telling me like, just do a routine. So that's what I had in my mind. So, okay, of course, rec, boom, we working out. Definitely working out. Then, of course, going to chapel. Also, after that, just whatever program that I can get into once I got the Lottie, of course.
What camp did you go to first?
Yeah.
Because on our previous episode, we actually talked about Lottie and the idea of faith and character-based camps and the idea of rehabilitating people and offering programs versus just warehousing them or making them work at DOT or free labor or fighting all day like they do in these gladiator camps that are known as the juvenile facilities. What camp did you go to first before you made it to the faith and character-based place?
I was my first camp was Lake City.
Yeah, explain what JIT camp is to everybody out there.
All right, so JIT camp is a YO camp. YO standing for youth offender. So I believe like if you was under the age of 21 and you was going to prison, they would send you to a YO camp, a youth offender camp. It was only 4 of them. It was Brevard, Lancaster, Indian River, and Lake City. And I happened to go to Lake City. The JIT camps are wild because they JITs. They ain't got nothing to do. All of them probably got like 5 years. Maybe a JIT or two had like 10 years. You follow what I'm saying? But it wasn't. It was a majority of them was going home. I mean, they just lived in the moment. You know what I'm saying? And whatever we got into, we got into. It was just running around doing JIT shit, stealing, gang banging, robbing, fighting every day.
Would you say that those YO camps, these youth offender camps, these JIT camps, are they helping people or is it making people worse as young men?
Man, it's pre-prison. That's all it is. It's pre-prison.
Prison training
Fuck
ground.
that. I mean, it's prison, but it's yeah. I mean, it's just to prepare you for for it's just somewhere to house young offenders, but them shits is wild. I mean,
One of the
yeah,
things, Corey,
it was way more chill when I once I got to an adult camp.
yeah, yeah. I mean, everything I've heard. So the very first place I got sent to was ACI, which was up in the Panhandle. It's one of the worst places you can get sent to. And I get there, and they get us off the bus, and just like you described, they get us out in the garage. These 6'5", 6'6" rednecks, like 400 pounds, screaming at us. Well, you got 3 choices. You can fuck, fight, or check in. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll fight. I don't know. So I get there, and they get like 25 of us in a room, and they go around and they're doing dorm assignments, and they go in dorm, O dorm, in dorm, R dorm, O dorm, and so I'm the only one that's not in dorm or O dorm. I'm R dorm, and so I looked at the guy next to me, and I'm like, "Hey man, I got R dorm. What's that?" And he goes, "Oh shit, man, that's the jits. You're not supposed to be in there." I'm 34 years old, so I go up to the CO. I go up to the CO, and I was like, "Hey, they sent me to our dorm. I don't think I'm supposed to go over there." And she looks at me and she goes, "Honey, this is prison. Ain't nobody supposed to be here." They send me over to this JIT dorm, and they had them on lockdown because they had just tried to set a bunch of each other on fire a couple nights before. So, fortunately, I was in like a 2-man cell locked down before they figured out that I wasn't supposed to be in there. But I got to tell you, just for that day or two I was in there, I could tell it was not a place I wanted to be. Regular adult prison is way more chill than what's going on with the JIT camps.
Oh yeah, man, like 100%, 100%. I mean, it got to the point that once I got to adult camp, because ultimately it ended up shipping me once I turned 21, and I had I wasn't sentenced to a wild sentence. They shipped me to Mocha. That was my first adult prison, and Tomoka is a psych camp, and they put me in D dorm. Same concept, just like how you spoke on. We sat down in intake, whatever the case may be, and and they told us what dorm we was going to, packed up. We went to D2. They called that shit the project. They were like, man, if you need anything and everything was in D dorm. But once we got in the, like, in my mind, I'm just like, yo, all right, so this adult prison. So I'm thinking, you know, they're on the same type of time like the Jits were. I thought it was wild. I thought it was like wilding too. I mean, they are, but
Right.
not like the Jit. Yeah, so I went in there with that mindset, and that's how I carried myself till the motherfucker pulled me to the side. It was like, yo, Jit, like, chill out. He was like, you ain't gotta walk around here like that. And he was like, understand this. He was like, understand this. So this is my first interaction with a lifer at the same time. So I got checked, but also my first interaction with a dude who actually had life. I was like, all right. So he was like, understand this, man. He was like, look, motherfucker, you just passing through. He said, we live here. He said, you around here born up and doing all that bullshit that y'all motherfuckers do at JIT camp. He was like, man, you ain't gonna do nothing but make it hot on all of us. He was like, motherfucker, you just visiting.
You're just passing through. We've got to live here. And
Yeah.
and on that note, I want you to describe to people, because here's where some of the backwards prison stuff goes on, where people out there, people on the other side of the wall, have no idea how it really is. You would think that somebody that has a bunch of years would be way more bitter and angry and upset than somebody that doesn't have a lot of time. And it's the
that's a
exact
fact.
opposite. The people that don't have a lot of time, the people that have like 3, 4, 5 years, those are the ones that like are wilding out. And the people that have a long time to do, those are the guys that are like enlightened. They're looking for spirituality. They're seeking balance. They're working out every day.
Most definitely.
Why is that, Corey? What do you think that comes from? Like, what happens to your mind where you have life in prison and all of a sudden you become enlightened?
That's a good question.
Thanks. I'm really good at this.
Yeah, I see. Oh, my man Scott was made for this. Yeah, but honestly, man, I mean, me personally, I don't know. I mean, for me, because I did 8 years, but I've never been in a position where I had life. They offered it to me, but nah, I didn't take it. But yeah, but anyway,
I mean, I think it's the idea that, like you said, I have to live here, so I need to make this place as good as possible. Whereas someone who's just passing through does not have that type of respect.
nah, hell nah, hell nah. But I mean, cause they're going home one day. The lifer is already home, so yeah, of course he's making the best of it. Why? How did he come to that type of like mindset? Like why does he think that way? I have no fucking idea. I mean, shit, probably because he just accepted the fact like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna die here. There's no way that I can escape. I might as well make the best of this shit. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think you touched
it's
on
wild.
right. It's acceptance. That's exactly what we talked about earlier, where the people that are resistant are the ones that have trouble, and the people that are accepting of it. So you get through Tomoka, which is a site camp. For those of you who don't know, a lot of legislation, a lot of constitutional stuff happened where people were being mistreated that had mental health problems. So what they did was, across the country, they started developing mental health wings at certain prisons. So you would sort of pool people that had medication issues. You'd pool them into one place. The idea was to try to help protect people, to try to put therapists there, to put psychotherapists there. But what ended up happening is you had a lot more increased violence at those places. So a place like Tomoka was not a place you would want to go. And I know this from experience because I watched people say, you better stop taking your medication now, because if you don't, you're going to get sent to a psych camp. So now you have people that just stop taking stuff that they're supposed to take because they don't want to get sent into this horrible situation. So the whole thing has created more problems than if we just had mental health standalone facilities. But so you make it through Tomoka and you get to Lodi. What was it like when you get to this faith and character based place where, you know, there was programs and there was things to do? What, you know, was it like a burden was lifted off your shoulders? Like, what was your experience once you got to Lodi?
I mean, Lodi was sweet. What I like most about Lodi is that it was 45 minutes from the crib. Like,
Yeah.
it was 45 minutes from the crib. So yeah, I had family like that would come see me frequently. I mean, that was the best part about it. But as far as like the programs and everything, I mean, it was cool. It was something to do. Definitely kept you occupied. Made time go by faster. Yeah.
And then, so you end up doing 8 years. And what was it like when you finally hit end of sentence? When you finally hit that EOS date, what was your feeling like? Did you just go home or did you go to work release? How did that whole thing unfold?
Oh my God. Man, I had a rough landing. I had a rough landing. So I went to work release initially, and then I got pulled from work release. And they sent me to Columbia Annex.
Oh my God.
They raised my custody. Yeah, they raised my custody from community custody all the way to closed custody and put me in a T3.
Wow.
It was wild. Like,
talk about a culture shock.
yeah. I was. Yeah. I mean, it was crazy, but yeah. For after that, so I did a few months there. Left, went back to work release, and I EOS from work release. The landing was rough, but like the transitioning, I mean, it was smooth. It was smooth.
Did you find
Like,
Did you
yeah.
have good support? Like, what was finding connection, housing, a job? Like, how did all that stuff unfold for you? And did you experience any kind of discrimination, either being a person of color or being now having a record? What type of hurdles did you face?
Man, I'm still facing hurdles. I mean, come on. I mean, you can't get a job. You can't get an apartment. I mean, you can't vote. You can't. I can't do a fuck thing. So, fortunately, I was able to, you know, shake a few hands, kiss a few babies, you know, shake hands, network a little bit, and
Put the old razzle
I got
dazzle
a
on
job.
them.
The razzle. Yeah. I ended up getting okay. So my first job was Bluefish. I was at Bluefish. As a matter of fact, I got a job at Bluefish from Sam Green. You remember Sam?
Yeah, I sure do.
Yeah. Sam Green was the manager. He was the general manager. He left Bridges when he went to. Now that I'm thinking about it, when he left to go to work release, he left his information for me. Told me to contact. Now that I'm thinking, damn, he told me to contact him once I got out. Nah. Because I met up with him. So he found out I was at work release, and he reached out and he gave me a job. He gave me my first job, and that's how I stayed at work release, and it was pretty legit, you know. I was cooking on the line at a little gourmet restaurant down there in Avondale. It's seafood and all that good stuff. You know, fucking with the little females. You know, just enjoying being out. That was my first. That was my first little step into society. And then from there, went from there to Olive Garden, and I just started I started like staying in the same circle, like, well, the same area of jobs, because I knew they didn't do background checks. Either they didn't know, either they didn't do them, or they really didn't give a fuck. So it put a huge limit on like what I could do. Couldn't get an apartment. Luckily, I found my sister. She was in the apartment industry for like 15 years, and she got me in contact with a chick who has private properties. Like she had privately owned apartments and stuff. Private company. I got my first apartment.
What I think employment is definitely one of the huge hurdles, but the thing that I found even bigger was the housing issue. The idea that you can't find a place because you have a record or you've made mistakes that you've already paid for, by the way. Now that you can't find a place to live, I don't think you can't overemphasize enough that how many people have to go back to shitty relationships with people that they've broken up with, that they, back to the same neighborhoods, the same traps. I mean, I think it's one of the quickest ways to go back to prison is having poor housing.
Man, not even poor housing, man. It's like the limitations they put on you, like.
Right.
Like housing, certain jobs you can get, and like certain areas you can't live in. It's crazy. And honestly, like what they like to say is like, oh, well, you made your bed, so now you got to sleep in it. Bitch, I slept in that bed for 8 fucking years. What you talking about?
Right.
I'm done sleeping in the bed. I'm up now, bitch. Like, I'm out. I pay my dues to y'all already. I mean, so now that I'm back, it's like, it's crazy. It's wild.
Yeah,
all these rules and regulations and laws that I have to abide, but at the same time, I can't even go get a fucking apartment. I can't even vote.
Right, you can't even change your circumstances. There's no such thing as a clean slate.
Nah, hell nah. Even after you paid your dues.
So Corey, as we wrap up here, can you tell us what you're doing now? And I know how important physical fitness and effort is to you, and what that role looks like in your life, because you look like you've transformed your entire self. I just can't even tell you. It's like you're not even the same person. So just tell us what that process has looked like.
Okay, so the same routine that I did when I was in prison, I just kept doing it once I got out.
Wow.
So I worked out every day for 8 years, and I went to work, and then I did like my classes and shit, whatever. So I did the same thing here, like once I got out. So like my third day out from prison, like after I hung out and had a good time, I went and got a gym membership. Got a gym membership because that's all I did for 8 years, and so I just kept doing it. And then eventually, a guy asked me, he was like, "Yo, do you compete or something? Like why you train so hard? Like why you so disciplined?" Not knowing that I'm fresh out of prison. And yeah, I was just the third day I went and got a gym membership. Guy asked me if I competed because he was like wondering like, yo, why am I so disciplined? And I was like, nah, not really. No, I don't compete. He was like, well, you should. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you should definitely look into it. Looked into it. End up linking up with a coach who has a bodybuilding team, and yeah. So
you do this professionally now then.
Yes. So I definitely just went pro in bodybuilding the end of last year. Like my first year as a pro.
Congratulations, dude. Do you have any plugs? Do you want to plug anything? Is there some sort of like protein drink I'm supposed to be drinking, or go ahead, just start plugging away.
Hey, they got to cut me a check first. Nah.
That's the Corey I know and love.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. But nah. That's pretty much, man. Like what I've been doing, I just been bodybuilding, working, taking care of my daughter. So I did have a daughter. She's 3. She'll be 3 in May.
Congratulations.
I mean, she'll be 3 on Monday. That's pretty much it, man.
For anybody that's listening
Nothing
out there,
spectacular.
As we wrap up, is there one piece of advice you could give to someone that's coming home, like someone that's coming home that's looking for housing, that's looking for support, that's looking for connection, maybe in the wrong places? Like, what's the one magical thing you could tell somebody to do that will prevent them from going back?
Just stay focused. It's a lot of distractions out here. It's a lot of things to get into. I mean, you just gotta walk light, man. I mean, because if you into the bullshit, I mean, bullshit gonna follow you. That's it. I mean,
make the main thing the main thing.
Those are my magic. Yeah, I mean, it's simple. Just, I mean, it may not be simple.
No, I mean,
just stay low key.
I really liked how you illustrated adapting, though. I mean, I think that's sort of what you're saying. You kind of already touched on it, which is the same thing you were doing in there that worked for you. You just did it when you came home in a different way. I mean, I think adapting is the thing that helps you stay focused, staying on that routine, staying centered on what can move you forward. Corey, really appreciate you joining us, man.
Where I can put it.
Hopefully, we're lucky enough we'll catch back up with you in a couple months when down the road and we can see how you're doing. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, man. Anytime, man. I appreciate you for having me, man.
Thank you so much. That was Corey right here on Uncarcerated. Make sure you like, rate, and subscribe. Download us. Follow us on Twitter @Uncarcerated.